first of all, congrats to Pete on his amazing career. And I put something out on social media and I meant it, like journalism and no disrespect to you guys, but journalism in the state of South Carolina and nationally has taken a hit with your departure. And I mean that. So, yeah, no, much respect for you and the job you do and your work ethic and whatnot, and appreciate you as well. Thanks to everyone for coming out. Congrats to Lamont and his team last night. What an awesome game that was, and awesome to be there and be a part of it as well, and great to get a win over those guys, as we all know. Really busy time for us, as I've alluded to previously. Month of December is chaotic, to say the least, with everything that's going on from a recruiting standpoint, portal standpoint, bowl standpoint, coaching standpoint. There's just a lot happening, but it's a good busy. There's no question about it. To be busy getting ready for another game like we are here right now, to be busy with so many people that are interested in coming to our program because of what we've done on and off the field over the last 4 years, but particularly this season. A lot of excitement about Gamecock football right now as well. Definitely want to thank Dr. Amaritas, Coach Tanner, our board, Jeremiah Donati as well, for working with us on contracts for our assistant coaches that the board approved yesterday. That was huge to be able to get that solidified before the bowl game as well. I had gone to Coach Tanner late in the season about we need to do some things and solidify some things with these coaches in regards to their futures here, what they deserve. The portal is opening up, signing day is coming, to be able to make a statement about where we are as a program and how we believe in these guys will be huge. And it was a lot of work on Coach Tanner's end, and it's what I was working on the week of towards the end of the regular season, working on these things with Coach Tanner. So grateful for Coach Tanner and his work, and Dr. Amaritas and the board for approving everything and believing in this coaching staff like I do as well. Because obviously when you have the season that we just had, you have a lot of schools, programs that are interested in your coaches. And we've had a coach turn down a coordinator job at another Power 4 school. We had a coach turn down a head coaching job in order to stay here. Those are just the ones that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's a lot of things that didn't even get to me that guys didn't pursue, not to mention we had the NFL jobs opening up here next month, and our guys are going to be popular there as well. So to be able to, they didn't have to sign anything. I put their contracts on their desk last Monday, and we had them all back by Friday at lunchtime, and it was done. And it says a great statement about the men in this program, that they want to be here, and know how they have a lot of excitement about 2025, just like we all do. But there's a lot of work to do to finish 2024. We're busy at that right now. Our players, we gave them some time off last week with exams. Congrats to our graduates, our guys that graduated on Monday morning, and along with the rest of the graduates here at the University of South Carolina. Kudos to all of them. Gave our guys some time off from practice last week. We were still working out and doing some football activities, but not full-blown practices. Gave them last week a few days to work on exams. Gave them the weekend off to get refreshed. And then we got back in here after graduation on Monday and practiced Tuesday. We'll practice this afternoon. Tomorrow we'll lift and have meetings. And then we'll practice Friday, Saturday, Sunday. More of a mock game week for us when we're full speed ahead on Illinois, and then we'll break after practice on Sunday the 22nd, give our guys a few days off for Christmas and the holidays, and then we will all reconvene in Orlando on the 26th is when the team will arrive, and then get a full week of practice down in Orlando. Going to be a great trip. Our guys are really, really excited, really, really hungry, and had a great spirited practice yesterday back out on the field, and expect today to be no different as well. So before I get into Coach Shula and let him take over and introduce him, any questions you guys have about stuff?
Shane, a couple for you. First, will Mike be calling plays at the bowl game?
We're still working through that right now, and should have more of an answer for you on that one going forward. Right now, obviously, Dow's busy running the App State program, and he and the rest of the offensive staff have been putting together a plan for the bowl game, and he's been running the quarterback meetings and a lot of the stuff we've been doing all season. Coach Shula has been very involved with everything that we're doing offensively since the beginning.
And have you had any players come to you for who were opting out of the bowl game?
Yeah, right now I'd say the only one that's definite is Kyle Kennard. Don't believe that he's going to play from what he's conveyed to me. We talked about it last week when I was out in Houston with him Steve and I were out there for the Lombardi Award, and we talked about it. You know, he mentioned it to me that night, and then we talked about it a little bit more the next morning. So he's one right now that's not with us, and say there's one other one, David, that's still weighing his decision, and everyone else has told me they're in and ready to go try and get a 10th win.
With all the turnover from the roster that's already happened, how challenging has it been to practice? Obviously, some positions have been hit with guys leaving there. Have you guys run into any challenges that way yet?
Yeah, I mean, the first time, I'll be honest, the first day we practiced right after the Clemson game. We played Clemson on Saturday, and I guess we went out there the following Thursday or Friday, whatever it was. And when you have postseason, you're able to get a lot of extra development in with your young guys. And you get out there in practice and you've lost some guys in the portal and you realize, like, you don't have a lot of young guys. Like, all the young guys are getting work with the ones and the twos in so many ways because we had some receivers that left the program. We had some tight ends. Brady's hurt, and then we had some tight ends that left the program as well. So right away you realize that you don't have a lot of tight ends. You're down some receivers. When you do the developmental stuff after practice, there's not as many guys to do that. So it's absolutely been a challenge, and we've had to get creative on some ways, on some things. But I know Coach Furry posted a picture on social media. We have a lot of our incoming freshmen are here right now because they were able to finish up their academic work in high school, and they're coming here in January already. So because they were able to finish their high school work, they're able to now practice with us. So we had 5 receivers, Cutter Woods and Caleb Williams, a defensive tackle, all out here with us right now. So they were actually able to practice yesterday and practice today and be here all week. So that certainly helped things because now you are able to spend extra time with guys from a development standpoint and help them get even more prepared for 2025.
Shane, I think it was either last December, last January, you stood there and said, listen, we're not happy with what happened this year, but bigger things are coming. And then this year, you're a player or two away from being in the college football playoff. Is that a testament to how quickly things can change in this game, or is it a testament to how steadily you've built what we're seeing right now?
I think it's certainly a testament to how quickly things can change. You see, I was just reading before I came in here about some of the teams that are playing in the playoffs this weekend and how much some of those teams have utilized the portal in the last 12 months and completely flipped their roster. So you can certainly change things. I don't think it's necessarily about me. It's a testament to what we have been building. But when I said that, I think my words were, we're not far off. And I knew we weren't, because when you look back at 2023, we were 5-7. But when you really dig deep on why we were 5-7, it was evident why. And we knew what we needed to do to adjust it. But I think more than anything this year, it's the leadership that returned, the maturity, the experience that returned. I truly believe that. I mean, I think today's time in college football, college athletics, rosters change over every year, and every year is like starting over. But the teams that can get old and be old, if you will, are the ones that have a chance to be really, really successful. And when I said that, if you're referring to that video down there in the weight room or anything that I said publicly, particularly in December, I didn't know exactly who was coming back. I was hoping that Debo Williams and Nicky Manwari and DQ Smith and Boogie Huntley and Taka Hemingway and TJ Sanders and all these guys would return, but I didn't know. But certainly when all those guys decided to come back and we brought back so much leadership off the 23 team, most of the people outside this building didn't think we were going to be worth a crap, but I knew we had a chance to be pretty good because we weren't that far off. We had a lot of guys returning. We had a quarterback that's dynamic, and we added some pieces, to the equation. So that's probably when I felt that way, it was knowing we weren't far off, knowing what we have coming back, and we have a lot of leadership on this team, whereas that'll be a challenge for us next year. You know, not to get too far ahead, but we vote. You guys have heard me say it. We vote on permanent captains at the end of the season, and when we voted on permanent captains for the 2023 football team, of the top whatever it was 9 vote getters, I think 6 of them are still here on this year's team. You know, there was Gargiulo, Spencer, and Leggett, I think, are the only 3 vote getters that aren't here, and everybody else returned. Whereas this year, if you look at our top 8 vote getters, they're all gone except for Lenore's. So there's a leadership void that's going to be critical that we fill going into next year, without a doubt.
Shane, if you wouldn't mind, with the process of hiring the new OC, did you kind of immediately know that you wanted to promote Mike in this role, or did you try to do your due diligence and explore all your options for this role?
Yeah, you're kind of stealing my intro, Jack. That was going to be part of the thing when I get to intro him here in a second. Dang, man, stealing my thunder. No, I would say when we were able to bring in Coach Shula last year, I remember I was down in Florida with my wife for a long just weekend just to get away. And Sean Ryan was in this role last year. He's now with the Miami Dolphins. The year before that was Freddie Kitchens. And then Sean left to take a job with the Dolphins. And the day that Sean left, Dow called me immediately and said, "Hey, what do you think about Mike Shula?" And my initial reaction was you freaking kidding me? Absolutely. Because I knew what Mike Shula was about as a coach, and then what I didn't know him well, but what I thought I knew about him as a person, I thought he'd be a dynamic fit because of the kind of person he is, the background that he's had. He's called plays in college. He's called plays in the Super Bowl. And he's worked with different skill sets at quarterbacks, but specifically, as I've mentioned to you guys before, I think Josh Allen, Cam Newton, bigger bodies, athletes like our quarterbacks are right now as well. So it was a home run when we were able to get him here. And then since he's gotten here in January, he's been even better than I thought he would be, Jack, just in the regards of helping our offense, the influence he has in that offensive staff room. I'd say everybody in this building, people like everyone in this building. I would say everybody in this building loves Mike Shula. And that's not just saying that because he's here. People in this building love him. And he's made us better. So when Dow told me that he was leaving, I knew it was a possibility. Well, first of all, you back up when you start having the season that we're having, or even when you're not having that season, you're always thinking about, if I lost this coach, who I'd want to replace him with, and you're always thinking ahead as a head coach for the next step. And certainly offensive coordinator is no different. And then I knew Dow was interviewing, and then he called me. I was over in Atlanta for the SEC championship game when Dow called me, and then that's the day that the news broke. I was at the game literally when the news broke. So immediately your phone starts blowing up with people that are interested in the position. And when you're a 9-win team and you're nationally ranked and you got a quarterback like Lenore Sellers, there's going to be a lot of offensive coaches that want to be a part of this. So certainly there was a lot of interest in the position that either called me directly or worked through agents to reach out and let me know. But I know I'm giving you a 7-minute answer, but no, there was nobody else I really considered. Certainly thought about some people and went through some names and bounced some ideas off different people that I trust. But all in all, in my mind, Coach Shula was always the direction that I was going to go. One, he's a fantastic coach. He's maybe overqualified for the position in some ways, but really the continuity was critical with me. Just the relationship that he has with Lenoris and our other quarterbacks, knowing the offense. I wasn't fired up about bringing in a new offensive coordinator, and our whole offense has to learn a whole new offensive system as well. I didn't think that was the best thing for us right now. So when you have a highly qualified guy in your building that can do the job and hopefully make us even better, it was a pretty easy decision from my standpoint.
You spoke about the eagerness from the players to get that 10th win. How huge would it be for this program to not just win the Citrus Bowl, but to finish with a 10-win season? Yeah,
it would be huge. It's only been done 4 times in the history of this football program. So to be on the team, be a part of a team that does it for the 5th time ever would be a really big deal. Really big deal. And Illinois is very motivated. I think if they win this game, they'll tie their record for wins in a season. So well aware of what they have. So to me, I was down in Orlando Sunday night for an event with the bowl with Coach Bielema from Illinois. And it's one thing we were both talking about is this is a bowl game that both teams are excited to be in it. Both teams are motivated to win it because of what could potentially come out of it. For them, it would be a record for wins in a season, or tying a record. For us, it would be 10 wins for the 5th time ever here at Carolina. So there's a lot of hunger and a lot of excitement. These guys have earned this bowl and have earned a great time to go down there and have a whole lot of fun in Orlando, but also knowing that there's a really important game on the 31st that is the reason that we're there, and that the impact it can make, not just on this season to finish it the right way, but even going in to the future as well.
Two things. First is Robbie playing in the bowl game or practicing with you guys right now?
He is.
Is that a change in your philosophy from a couple years ago to allow someone to go in the portal but also stay on the team?
I'd say it's a little bit of a change because I've had some guys ask me to do that in the past, and I wouldn't let them because you're either with us or you're not. In regards to Robbie, I think each situation is specific, Jordan. And look, Robbie loves it here, and Robbie's enjoyed his experience here. Robbie wants to be the starting quarterback. I get that, and he should be. And there's only one of those guys on the field. So Robbie came and talked to me the week after the Clemson game about, his future, doesn't want to go, loves it here, but also understands we've got a pretty good quarterback right now in Lenoris. And I would love for Robbie to stay, but I want Robbie to get a chance to be a quarterback somewhere. And we talked about how to best handle it. And I would love to say, don't announce you're going in the portal until right after the game and then go in the portal. But that's probably not the best thing for him because teams in like college football, they're only going to take one quarterback, and he's got to be in the portal for teams to legally talk to him or for him to go on visits. So I didn't want to prevent him from being able to find his next home over the month of December and have other schools fill up that would take him. So he and I talked about it. And then we agreed to meet later on. So we met later on. He decided, yes, I want to go in the portal. I'd like to do it now. And then initially I went back and forth. I'm not going to lie. But then I met with the leaders on the team. And I said, here's what we've done in the past. What are your thoughts on this? That he wants to stay and finish. He's a play away from being in the bowl game. He wants to finish this thing the right way. He started with you guys. It's a little bit different than a backup receiver that wants to go in the portal just because he wants to get more playing time or more money or whatever. This is a guy that is there's only one of them on the field, and there's only a few places that are taking quarterbacks right now. And I met with the leaders, and they were all in agreement. Let him finish. That he started this thing with us. He's been a good teammate, and let him go out the right way. So we've worked a schedule around it. He was on a visit last weekend when we were off. He's on a visit right now. And I told him he needed to be back tomorrow night because we've got 3 really important practices coming up this weekend as well. So I think each situation is different. Quarterback is a unique position because they only take one. And he's done things the right way here. But I've told him too that, and I told the team yesterday in front of Robbie, that if we go through this process and over the next few days I sense anything that he's not being a great teammate or isn't completely committed, then we're going to have a different conversation. But I don't think that's going to happen.
A couple, but I'll go.
Go ahead, Hill. You got 2 in you, man.
Well, one sort of a follow-up on that topic. Are there any other guys on the team who have entered the portal or declared they're entering that are still practicing, or is he the only one? Okay.
No, Robbie's the only one.
Okay. Then my other question was with recruiting the portal, and obviously it seems like it changes every year with whether it's variables with what you guys are able to do with roster standpoint, just all the different things that go on. How has it been in this cycle recruiting the portal? Is it noticeably different, about the same? How would you sort of characterize it?
Different but similar. It's December, I think right now is less chaotic because of 2 things. One, we already had the high school signing day. So last year at this time, like signing day was coming up in 2 or 3 days. And you hadn't signed that high school class. The high school class is signed. So that's one thing that makes it less chaotic, which I love. Number two is with the signing period moving up, we weren't allowed to go out on the road as coaches in the month of December for different reasons. But normally, like last year, I was out every day after the first week in December. I was in a different city for lunch, dinner, as I've talked to you guys about. Now we're in-house. So December is really chaotic, but at least it's chaotic from my desk and not I get off a plane and I've got 17 text messages about somebody's going in the portal or somebody just went in the portal or somebody's interested in visiting or whatever it might be. So that part's been different in a good way. You know, I think it's probably those are the biggest changes to me. Outside of that, it's been really good. I mean, when I say that there's a lot of excitement about Gamecock football, there's a lot of people that want to be a part of this program. A lot of guys that have come in here on visits, solid people that love football and love to compete that we've brought in since Monday or whenever they started coming in, whenever it opened up. Two that were here this morning and just left. We've got two more coming in tomorrow. We got 5 over the weekend that'll be here, and they're really good players that certainly can make this place better and continue to add to the competition in this program. So it's been better in the sense the calendar's a little bit different. It's been better in the sense that we're 9-3 and not 5-7. It's been better that there's a lot of excitement about this program, and we're getting ready to go play in a great bowl game compared to where we were last year when we weren't getting ready to play in a game. And our guys that are here, they want to be here because of what we've done and what we're continuing to do. So it's still chaotic. Don't get me wrong. There's still 2 or 3 phone calls I get every day where I just shake my head. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But that's just part of it right now in college football. It's not just me. I mean, I talked to I had a head coach at an ACC school call me this morning, and we were talking about some things, and, all coaches need to get together and just kind of write a book about the month of December 2024 because it's a lot of stuff out there right now, but in a good way too. There's a lot of great things going on, no doubt about it. Yes, since Jack already stole my introduction, but or took the introduction as well. But no, I think a lot of Coach Shula, when we hired him, I probably talked about this, but obviously, his being a coach, his son, just like me, is very endearing as well. His dad, obviously, no one in the NFL has won more games than his dad did. He grew up around the game. He played the game. That's what I like. He's a quarterback that played football in the SEC as well. So it's been cool going around to some SEC venues and asking him, how'd you do in Vanderbilt Stadium when you played up here? And how'd you do at some of these places that we visited? Or when we went to Alabama, where was your locker in this locker room and stuff like that? But he's got a great story, SEC experience. He was the head coach at Mississippi State when I was an assistant coach the head coach at Alabama when I was an assistant coach at Mississippi State. Sorry, coach, as well. So competed against him and always had a ton of respect for him then. And then just following his career, the respect has only grown. When I was thinking about this, I've never worked with him outside of this past year. So I've seen him in the role that he's in right now and knew that he would be good, but I had never seen him in a coordinator role. So I reached out to some guys that played for him that were starters on the Carolina Panthers offense when they played for the Super Bowl. And just, I know about Coach Shula, the person, and Coach Shula, the person that works with the quarterbacks. Tell me about Coach Shula, the offensive coordinator that you played for in Charlotte. And they couldn't have been more awesome in their praise of him and what he meant to them as people, as coaches, as players, schematically, relationships, all that as well. So he's been great, works closely with our quarterbacks, got a great track record, and that's this year in college football for him. I think it's been good and probably helped him grow even more as a coach. He's got a great background from his time in the NFL and college, and he will continue to make our quarterbacks better, our offense better, and this program better as well. So that's why Mike Shula is our new offensive coordinator. So welcome, Coach.
Thank you. We'll let Mike make an opening statement, and we'll open up for questions. Don't tell Coach Beamer I'm raising this up just a little bit. Hey, thank you. Super excited and extremely grateful. Number one, grateful to D'Lo for reaching out and giving me the opportunity to get here last year, and for Coach Beamer to allow that to happen. I couldn't have had a more exciting year for me. It's been very energizing personally for me, and the reason really it didn't start. It started before the winning. It was just because of the people. There's so many. I didn't really know many people here. I knew Joe DeCamillis. We coached together at Jacksonville, but it's good to feel wanted, and I feel extremely motivated now. Number one, to help our offense and help this football team finish the season the way we want to finish it. It's going to be a big challenge against Illinois, and then as I spoke to the offensive players just briefly a couple days ago, just to continue to build on what we have and try to make it better, and do that with the foundation of the young men that we have here now, and hopefully put some more pieces, add more pieces to the puzzle, both with the young guys coming in and with the portal. That's been a new thing for me. It's been very interesting, especially this past week, just to seeing the dynamic of all the ins and outs of what's happened in college football. And I think that, like I said, I learned a long time ago, surround yourself with good people, work as hard as you can, believe in yourself, believe in the people around you, and good things will happen. And I think that's manifested itself this year. These guys there's something different about this group of players. Now, I was working with the quarterbacks obviously most of the year, but I had a chance to kind of just observe some of the other positions and really not get to know them a whole lot, but just watch. And these guys are motivated. They're motivated to win. They're motivated to prove to themselves and to the people in this state, in this university, and really around the country, what we're about and what we can be about moving forward. So again, super excited and very grateful.
Hey, Mike, David Cloninger with the Charleston Post and Courier. How much does your relationship with Lenoris from this past year kind of give you a heads up or a good first step as you take on this job?
Yeah, I think it's a lot. He's and you guys know him he's been up here a heck of a lot more than I have, and he's an interesting guy in such a good way, and he's extremely competitive. He's smart. He's a fast learner, and he has a way about himself that without really saying a whole lot or being very vocal, that attracts guys in a leadership, and where he's a leader. So hopefully our relationship that we've built here since last March will benefit us and benefit this football team moving forward.
Hey, Coach. Hale McGranahan with BigSpur.com.
How are you?
Doing fine. I just, with Lenoris, and obviously you were on the field with him during the games and certainly talking to him a lot, presumably. What did you kind of learn about him during those types of moments when you're having that face-to-face interaction with him when you're in the midst of a game?
Well, I think the biggest thing, he's very poised, and it's hard to kind of see that to start with, because everything was so new, even in the first game, and when maybe we weren't clicking quite as well as we should have been, and he maybe missed a couple throws or a couple reads, just to kind of see how he was after a negative play. Was that going to affect the next series? And he's pretty cool. Now he's doing so many good things. And I mean this in a positive way. He's doing so many good things right now, but he still has a lot to learn and will grow. And again, I mean that in a positive way. And when he does, if he continues the way he's kind of ascended this year, I mean, it can be a really cool thing. And I think, kind of a recruiting pitch, but I think if you're a player out there, whether or not you're a young recruit or a transfer player, then I mean, it'd be pretty exciting to have him as your quarterback.
Hey, Mike, Pete Iacobelli with the AP. You won't have to deal with me too long because I'll be leaving in a couple of weeks. But anyway, couple of things. Was wondering if your experience at Alabama as coach kind of soured you on the game at all because of how things ended that way. And also, how do you see the college game having changed or grown in the time since you were, intimately involved in that?
Right. Yeah, it's been a few years. I think no, it didn't sour me. I think I learned a long time ago from a guy who coached a lot of football that, when every experience, you just make sure you learn from it. There's nothing you can do to change the past, and learn from it and be better because of it. Take the good, build on it, and learn from the things that wasn't good, that weren't good. And I think over the last few years, I haven't. Believe it or not, I haven't watched a whole lot of college football, just being busy in the NFL and raising 3 daughters. And I would say it's, number one, the athletes seem to keep getting bigger, stronger, and faster. I think the biggest thing is the obvious one now with the rules in college football where guys are transferring. But still, all that being said, I think the most important things are for the foundation of success are still there. The communication with your players, helping them be the best that they can be at their position to help their teammates and to help go win, and telling them when it's good enough and why, and when it's not good enough and why, and being able to have the ability to sometimes have those hard conversations that maybe he doesn't want to hear or you really don't want to go through, but you have to, just because in the long run it's going to make all of us better. And we've got guys on that as players that take coaching and take it very well, and I've learned that in a hurry. And we've got coaches that communicate clearly, and every one of our players, in my opinion, I noticed this right when in one of our first team meetings with Coach, just watching him and learning, is that everyone knows what's expected, and he's going to make it clear. And he's not afraid to do that at any time. But every one of those players also know that he's in their corner, and more so than anybody else on the staff. And I think they all know that too. And I think as a player and then as a parent, if you're sending your son to a program, that's kind of the guy that you want to have coach your players.
Hi, Coach. Rick Henry, WIS TV.
How are you?
Just wondering, how much fun is it to coach a quarterback like Lenoris, especially when he can turn a play that is headed for disaster into a game-winning touchdown? And also, can you be specific about your plan on how you will make him a better quarterback?
Well, number one, it's pretty exciting, and he'd probably get mad if I say this, so don't tell him. But some of those runs he's had, maybe where he was just terrific running it, he probably could have got the ball out on time and where he didn't have to run it. But and that's what I mean by with experience. That's just going to only make him more dangerous. And again, it's his first year playing. He's done a lot of cool things. We've won a lot of games because of him. And moving forward, if he stays on that right path, it's going to be hopefully equate to a lot of wins. But he knows that with experience he'll get better, and he works hard at it. He doesn't look back on what he's done and say and act like he's arrived or anything like that. And then as far as continuing to help him and the things that we're going to do, we want to, number one, just build on what D'Lo has done. He's done a great job. I mean, and again, I can't say it enough. I'm so grateful for him reaching out and allowing me to come here and Coach Beamer just to be wanted, number one, to be a part of this. And in our meetings with the offensive staff, it's not that it really mattered to D'Lo, but it was easy for me to just kind of think we kind of thought a lot alike. And I think now, because of that, we're going to continue to do what we're doing, build on, maybe expand a little bit as Lenoris gets more experienced, and try to make it better. But what D'Lo started this year, especially right at the beginning of fall camp, guys really took to it, embraced it, and he challenged them. And talk about a guy that clearly communicates with players, and especially with the quarterbacks, he's that guy, and just kind of want to continue to build off that.
Hey, Mike, Jordan K. with the State. 2 things for you. First, we talked, in August or September or whatever when you were still getting into this, and you said college football is unique in the way you can kind of see a light go on for a guy. When coming from the NFL this year, did it bring out your love of college football again? Were you able to see that light go on for guys?
Yes, and we're anticipating that light going on for more guys as we move forward. But and it's different. Like in the NFL, that same light goes on, but it's in a different way. It's guys that have kind of been through that from their 18 to 21, those years where they're learning, their first time away from home, they're learning a lot about life and managing their time, budgeting their time. Whereas in the NFL, they've kind of already been through that, and we wouldn't be coaching them if they didn't know how to handle that. So here it's a little bit twofold. It's kind of that whole college atmosphere, figuring things out, living on your own, and then also the football part of it. And we've all know how guys are when they, when we all were 16, 17, 18 years old compared to how we were when we were 21, 22 years old. So that part it's cool, it's refreshing, and it's been very energizing for me. And like I said, I'm grateful that I'm here, and hopefully I can help in that way and help this football team and help Lenore's to help the offense and this football team win games.
You've already given 2 messages to recruits in this press conference. What was your role as recruiting over the last couple of years, and are you excited to, I guess, do it full time for the first time in 2 decades?
Yeah, well, you mean over the last few months? No, I mean, I was just kind of everything I wanted to do when I got here, number one, was to be an extension of Coach Loggins and just project that. So obviously he's a terrific recruiter as well, terrific communicator. So there's a lot of young men out there that obviously were interested, and hopefully they will continue to be interested in our football team based on what we've built here this year and based on where we feel like we're going. And but yeah, it's been, like I said, more so than anything else, just kind of be an extension of him. And then now obviously it's time for me to step up and do a good job in that regard and clearly communicate our message and be an extension of Coach Beamer and the rest of the guys on our staff.
John Whittle, the Big Spur.
John.
Would you like to call the bowl game, and what are some of the benefits, or is there a benefit of being able to do that this year versus starting in January?
I haven't. It doesn't really matter to me. Number one, my mindset. I think if any one of you all in this room would be the same way. Yeah, I'm going to prepare for this game like I am going to call it, and whatever Coach Beamer, however it unfolds, we'll be ready. And going back to what I said earlier about my relationship and in the game plan in the meeting rooms with Coach Loggins and the other offensive staff, who I'm thrilled to coach with. The guys on our staff, I think they're wonderful. They're good coaches and they're smart. We're going to be ready either way, so it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. And because we're all locked in, we've got we know it's going to be a big challenge, but we've got a lot of good preparation already as a coaching staff, and like Coach Beamer said, we've got some big days coming up here, and we're going to be ready either way.
Hi, Mike. Jack Velcher at GamecocksCentral.com. Congratulations on being promoted and all that. With Lenore's, you've obviously worked with quarterbacks before that have that similar skill set of, running the football effectively while also being a passer. How much does that help in having those experiences of working with those types of guys? And do you try to apply anything that you've learned from coaching the quarterbacks that you had before and apply it to Lenore's game?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think, my 7 years with Cam, number one, but I think it's, yes, you do, but it's you actually kind of find yourself looking back, and I think we'll do that some in the offseason of just maybe there's some things that we did back there with Cam that maybe we haven't done in a while that that might fit here with Lenore's. And I would say number one, both of them, these we all know what actually both those guys have done with their mobility, with the ability to run the ball, but they're passers first. And that's what we want with our quarterbacks, to be able to be fast thinkers, anticipate, 3 things: get the ball there, go to the right receiver with the ball, get the ball there on time, and get the ball there accurately. And then all of a sudden, if you have a guy that can move around and run, then we'll add to that. And so, yeah, we'll do that. It's going to probably be more, philosophy-wise regarding X's and O's than it would be, well, hey, watch how he runs, or, no, it's, sometimes you got to talk to him about, hey, get down quicker. But that's always a fine line of, hey, don't take the extra hit, as opposed to, you say that and then he doesn't do it, but he makes the guy miss or breaks a tackle and then goes and scores. So it's hard to have it both ways. That's the one thing I've learned with guys that can carry the football and run like both Cam and Lenore. And Lenore's still got a long way to go. It's just his first year, but we'll continue to try to build on those things.
Hey, Coach. Noah Chast, ABC Columbia. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So this year's team has a very senior-heavy defense, and they were a top 10 defense. And when the offense was maybe a question mark going in, but it found its form late. Losing a ton of seniors this year, it might be the flip in 2024-25 or 2025. What are the challenges of having maybe an offense that has to possibly carry the load for this team next year?
Yeah, I think that's we probably won't think about it that way. I think anybody who ever plays on offense feels like anytime they step on the field, it's our job to go score, to go make first downs, stay on the field, and put points on the board. And however we win games, we all know games are won in all different types of ways. Scoring a lot of points, not scoring points, having the defense and special teams help you out. Winning games where you have the lead, you lose it, and then come back in a 2-minute drive. So we're just going to kind of just dial in on our own selves and not worry about, the depth chart of our defense or offense or our special teams or anything like that. We know that with the guys that we have in this program, the players, the student athletes, as well as the coaches, that we got to make sure we do our job first and not worry about anybody else.
Alan Cole, excuse me, GamecockScoop.com. You mentioned some of the schematic stuff and philosophy, and obviously it's going to depend on the portal and the roster next year, but is it as simple as just being that extension of Dowell and keeping the continuity? Are there concepts and schemes you kind of want to put in yourself to put your own stamp on this?
Well, number one, I mean, we're going to have big shoes to fill, again, with Dilo leaving and what he's done, but I think it's I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. We'll, put our own flavor on it, but I want to make sure that we're going to do things just as good as we've done this past season, and that's a challenge in itself to continue to get better, have guys understand, clearly communicate, and so they understand what their job is and they feel more comfortable about it. I think the challenge comes, and you guys probably know this better than I do. The challenge comes with the turnover with guys that, I don't know how many guys came in last year. I think my first or second day was on the job was the first day of spring ball, and they were talking about how many guys on offense were new. We had new coaches. So getting that communicated as fast as you can where the guys feel comfortable, I think that's probably going to be our biggest challenge, as well as a lot of schools.
Mike, Bob Gillespie, straightupsports.net, formerly with the state newspaper. I was here in 2005 when you came in with Alabama, your first trip here, I guess. What was your impression then as an opposing coach as to what the South Carolina environment and atmosphere and everything that goes around being an SEC team was like, and how has that changed, if it has? Obviously new coaches and staff and all that, but how has it changed being on the inside and a part of it now?
Yes, sir. Well, again, that was a few years ago, but and we played it. I remember we came over here, and I'd heard a lot about, hey, don't underestimate this crowd, and we played an early game, and it was loud. It was very loud. Now we played well, and I remember I think at the end of the first quarter, it might have been 14 all, and going back and forth, and it was loud, and we had a good team that year. We had some seniors, and we were fortunate enough to win the game. And that was kind of really the only time I'd been to Columbia. And then since then, I haven't really been. I've lived in Charlotte, so I'd kind of go down 77 South to Columbia, take a left, and go 26 East, and go down 95 to go visit my family back in Miami. Not until this year. I did come here once with my daughter when she was looking for different schools. But Columbia's a cool place. That's the thing that I've noticed quickly. It's a cool city. The campus is very unique. The way it's the downtown Columbia and the state capitol, and then there's the campus, and then the stadium is. I'll put it this way. So I have 3 sisters and 1 brother. So 2 of my sisters came to a game against. My brother came first to Texas A&M. Now, he's coached in a lot of games. He's played, he's seen a lot of stadiums. And then my sisters came 2 weeks later. They'd been to a lot of games, and they were blown away by the atmosphere. against Texas A&M and Missouri, and it's hard for them to be, because they've seen a lot. They've been to a lot of games back in the Orange Bowl back in the day and things like that. So it's very exciting. Like I said, it's about the people here. That's why I'm thrilled. I kind of got chills now just thinking about game day and having the opportunity to work with these guys and move forward and again, finish the season the right way. And again, it'll be a challenge, but then and then move forward as fast as quickly as we can for next year.
And one other thing, Pete asked you about souring on the game when you're in Alabama, which you addressed. I'm curious, in your mind, after that experience moving on to the NFL, where you were an assistant coach and coordinators and things like that, was there an adjustment in your mindset as to what you wanted your career to be when you made that move, either right away or as time went on?
Yeah. Now, he used that word, souring. I didn't use that word. Yeah. No, that's okay. It's hard. That this profession is hard. It's but it's the one that I've chose, just like a lot of other coaches, the ups and the downs. And so I think that, like I said, you learn from it, but you don't dwell on it. You look forward to finding work and doing what you feel like you're most comfortable doing. For me, I've always, I played the position. I didn't, Coach Beamer said I was okay quarterback, but I loved being around the quarterbacks, and just I've always felt like if I'm around the quarterbacks, it doesn't really matter. It's just because you just love being around where all the decisions are being made with the game on the line at any point, and that to me that's really cool. And like this past year with the working closely with the quarterbacks, with D'Lo, and trying to be an extension of him, and being down there on the sidelines with the QBs, it was awesome. And hopefully we'll continue that. And it's a unique feeling, one that I know that if I ever did anything else, I'd probably never have that feeling.
Alex Jones with the Big Spur. You mentioned some things earlier with recruiting. When you're looking at a high school quarterback, what are some things that stand out to you that make you want to go recruit that quarterback?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like everybody else. Number one is there's a lot of things, both physically and intangibly, that you look at. The kind of person he is. Everybody leads in their own ways, so there's all you kind of try to get to know that young man as much as you can and see his personality. And physically now, quarterbacks, like I said earlier, three things. Hey, can you find out where to go with the football, go to the right guy with the ball, get the ball there on time, and get the ball there accurately. However he gets it done. Everyone has their own little style. Not really too caught up in like, well, this guy's got a big wind up, or this guy throws, 3/4 as opposed to, that doesn't. It's just about when you put the tape on, how productive is this guy, and why, and then try to find out as much as you can about him and his family, and see if he's a fit for what Coach Beamer expects of the quarterbacks and the football players on our team.
Yeah, Mike, obviously your father left an enormous legacy on football. I don't know how protective you and your family are about it, but was just wondering if when Coach Belichick took the college job at North Carolina, whether it was one of those moments where, like, the 72 Dolphins would pop champagne when the last undefeated went down.
Wait, what's the question? I'm not sure.
How did that make you feel better, or what was your reaction to that, in the sense that now, that looks like that legacy is a little more secure?
Yeah, I really don't get into that much. I do know that not necessarily my brothers and sisters, but extended family and friends, they're kind of texting me and all that. But I have a ton of respect for Coach Belichick. Way back when he actually interviewed me twice when he was with the Browns. That's how old I am. But and was very grateful for that opportunity. I just in his career that. What he's done, it's pretty special, and now he's on to a new endeavor, and it just kind of feels like there's some, well, obviously with him, but other coaches that are kind of, in the same boat that I've been, where you've coached a long time in the NFL. Now, you're back coaching in some degree at some level in college, and it's refreshing, but. records are awesome. We're so proud of my dad and being his son, not because he's my dad, number one, but the record. And I know I speak for my sisters and my brother, and it's unique. So yeah, there's pride there as well.
We'll let Mike get back to game planning and get ready for practice.
Okay, thank y'all.